Good afternoon, Bob. No. Good afternoon, Dee. Yes, it is a late stream. Yeah, I didn't stream this morning because when we woke up, everyone was in the basement here at my house, and so I didn't want to like kick off the stream and be like, "What's up, guys?" and then wake everybody up. So I'm gonna spend a little bit of my evening doing a little streaming tonight, a little bit of learning, exploration. Oh, it's midnight there. Oh, damn. Yeah, it's late for you, man. It's 6:07 here, so it's kind of like I just had dinner and kind of winding down for the evening. I guess some people are just now winding up for the evening. I guess depending on your age, you might be doing different things at this time of night. I should pin that message. There we go. Okay. Where did my browser? So F sharp, huh? Yeah, yeah. I think I'm gonna do a little bit of tooling around this evening. See what's going on over in the other areas of .NET that I've never been to. Don't know how like much of a thing this will be, but I didn't really feel like working on my other project, so I thought, well, why not? All right. So I'm not really sure what the best place to start is. I'm guessing probably like Microsoft documentation might be the best place to start, but well, we'll find we shall find our way this evening. We're on an adventure. All right, let's see. Get started. This is probably a good place to start. Let's see. Learn how to write any application using the F# programming language on .NET. Okay, I don't really want to watch videos on stream. F# fundamental. Oh, a tour of F#. That's how we learned. That's how we learned Go. So maybe this would be a good. Let's see. The best place to learn about F# is to read and write F# code. This article will act as a tour through some of the key features of F# and give you some code snippets that you can execute on your machine. To learn about setting up a development environment, check out Getting Started. Yeah, I don't actually know. Excuse me. I'm gonna guess that I can just, since I have .NET, I'm guessing I can just run F# programs, right? But I bet I can't do stuff in NeoVim. So I probably have to set up NeoVim to work with F#. Oh goodness. We're gonna have to uninstall the GitHub. I don't know why I have to do this. I have to do this every so often. Gotta uninstall the GitHub themes, reinstall the GitHub themes. Then we have to quit the whole program. Then we have to reload it. And then everyone's happy again. Okay, so let's go to Mason. And let's find the F# LSP. Wonder if they have one. Come on, there's got to be people in the F# community who use NeoVim, right? That's got to be a thing. Or maybe it uses the same LSP as do a quick Google search. NeoVim F#. The FS autocomplete language server. That doesn't seem very straightforward. It can be installed globally as a .NET tool. Okay, let's go to NeoVim LSP. I bet they have a whole quick start on it. View all the configs. Hello, delusional dev. Live on a Saturday? Yeah, I'm live almost every day, Saturday and Sunday. It's just normally in the very early in the morning. I usually stream at like 4:15 in the morning Central Standard Time, but um, today we're doing things a little bit different because we had storms here last night, and so like the whole family, me, my wife, my kids, we all slept in the basement, and my office is right next to the basement. And so when we woke up this morning, like I wasn't going to just start streaming and wake everybody up, you know? So actually, what that actually means is I need to have a stream set up upstairs and downstairs. Especially now that we're getting into storm season here pretty soon. Okay. So they're talking about using the .NET Global tool, but I probably want to use Mason. So let's do FS autocomplete. So let's go ahead and install that guy. Did it work? I guess we can also update some of these. I don't see it on the list. Oh, there it is. You ever pop up on my feed? You never pop up on my feed on Saturdays. Hope all is well with you guys. Oh yeah, we're good. Yeah, that's strange that I never pop up on your feed. Yeah, I'm usually here every Saturday and Sunday morning. But yeah, we're good. Yeah, we didn't actually have it. Like we had some lightning and some thunder and some rain, but no tornadoes. Tornadoes are the big thing you have to worry about around here. I was actually the town I grew up in. The day I graduated high school, we had a huge tornado that just like basically destroyed a huge part of our town. So you got to be kind of careful with that stuff in this area of the world. Because we have FS autocomplete. So then let's go to Lua, plugins, LSP. Let's jump down to where we have OmniSharp. Okay, and then let's do vim.lspconfig fs autocomplete. And then we'll do vim lsp enable fs autocomplete. So I guess the question though is how does it know? I'm guessing I have to pay like resolve probably. Let's see, Mason, F# neovim. F# inide vim in vim chad. See how this guy sets it up. See, he used the global tool too. I don't want to. I want to use. Mason. See, one of the big takeaways from this is that if you want to support other languages, the process is roughly the same, except other languages, including C#, the LSP can install via Mason. Okay, so, well, that's fine. Let's go to Mason. Maybe they have an example. Recommended requirements, registries, configuration. I'm gonna guess. I don't know. I'm suspicious that it's gonna work. I mean, I guess it should just be my path, right? That's the idea. Is FS autocomplete should just be in my path now. Oh, hold on. So there's FS autocomplete, and then there's F# language server. Build the project from source. That doesn't sound fun. I don't want to build anything from source. Okay. I don't know. We'll give it a try. So, I guess now that we have all that in place, FS autocomplete. Did I spell that right?
Did we just become best friends?
Was he? Thanks for subscribing. Appreciate you. Hope you're doing well. Hope you're having yourself a nice Saturday. Let's see, Mason, then pick F#. Okay, so I think I have done that. I think I have done that. Well, actually, I picked the other one. I picked FS autocomplete. That's I think what I picked. Sorry. So you're saying there's a different one called F#? Huh. I don't see that. So I guess I'll just go with FS autocomplete. Roll with that. Okay. And then how do I, like, just real quick, like a litmus test, see if it's working? Like make dir learn F#. I'm guessing they have like a main.fs. Okay, Treesitter recognized it, so I guess that's a good thing. Tour of F#. If you don't have F# installed on your machine, you can execute all the samples in your browser. I don't know what this means. If you don't have F# installed on your machine, Gemini, hello world in F#. Print F hello world, okay. So I do that. LSP info. So FS autocomplete is attached, so it looks like it's working. Cool. I don't see any syntax highlighting though. Let's try to restart this. Should I see highlighting here? I don't know. Okay, and then can I do .NET run? No? Can I do .NET build? Project data to levels. Okay, so F# has to exist, I guess, within a project. Let's see, using the CLI. Okay. You can open your terminal, type .NET FSI, .NET FSI. Oh, looky there. So print, what was it? Print line. Hello world. Oh no. How do I exit? I don't know. I don't know how to exit this. You will need to add at the end of the line to evaluate it. Okay. So like this. Okay, exit. Exit. How many how many times can you try to exit a REPL before you just give up? Let's see. How do I exit the REPL? Treesitter ensure installed. I saw Treesitter. Hold on first, I gotta figure out how to get out of the REPL. I'm pretty sure I saw Treesitter install. There we go. Quit. I tried every word besides. There we go. I'm pretty sure. Let's see. I guess we can do edit in Vim config. Treesitter? No, Treesitter. ShadowNet. It's harder to exit Vim. Nah. I mean, it's not totally intuitive. Good morning or good afternoon, Blackfire. Sorry. Old habits are gonna die hard this stream. Alright, let's go over here. I'm pretty sure it installed the thing. Where are we? Down here. Okay. So I guess we could do is it F sharp? Is that what we want? I don't know why I don't know why that's not, the syntax highlighting isn't working. Treesitter F sharp neoven. Oh, requires manual installation steps. This is not yet a standard supported language in the plugin. Wonderful. Navigate to the clone Treesitter F sharp repository. Copy the queries folder content to something. First, run npm install to install the Treesitter CLI. Next, the grammar can be built using npm run build or used to parse a file. Let's see. Treesitter is supported through the usual installation methods of NeoVim Treesitter. Installing the latest grammar from this repo involves the following 3 steps. Update your NeoVim config for NeoVim Treesitter to refer to Treesitter F sharp. Let's see. The config you need is this. You can use a local path for URL. Okay, this seems more complicated. Let's see, supported languages. Do they have F sharp on here? Let's see, F sharp. Unstable. Wonderful. Well, it's here, but it's unstable. So they say they make these 2 statements. They say Treesitter F sharp is supported through the usual installation methods of NeoVim Treesitter. Okay, which it is. But does this mean that I need to also do this, or is this just saying if you're not going to do this, then you need to do this? I think that's what it's saying. I think it's saying you only need to do this if you're not going to follow the Treesitter route. But I did do the Treesitter, so let's see. TS install F sharp. Let's see, F sharp parser already available. Would you like to reinstall? Yes. I kind of wonder if it's because I'm not in a project. So let's back up here. So let's do remove main. do .NET new console out test lang is F sharp. Let's see where are we? Here, test. You can see it loaded a project. Do I get any type of IntelliSense or anything? No. I'm stumped. There's the LSP. This feels a little bit like my journey with trying to set up NeoVim for C#. Set up NeoVim with F#. Is anything involving Microsoft stable? Why F# anyways? I don't know. It sounded like a fun thing to do on Saturday night. It's on my list of things to check out, and I haven't ever done it before, and I didn't really feel like working on my project, but I wanted to tinker, you know? So I was like, okay, well, let's tinker on this. Yusuf, hey man, what's your top recommendation for people who are just starting to solve leak code for interviews? Like top tips? I don't have any good tips because I've honestly never really grinded leak code. The closest I ever get to doing leak code like things is Advent of Code every year. But if I walk into an interview that places a lot of importance on leak code, I'm probably not getting the job. That's just not, I haven't optimized for being good at leak code. I can talk about projects I built. I can tell you how I would build stuff, you know. I can talk about that type of stuff, but if you're looking for someone who can traverse a binary tree in record time, I'm probably not your guy. So I wish I had more advice, but I don't. I don't have any good advice for you. So it looks like MVim Chad has this set up, huh? Is that what I'm seeing here? I don't even think this is specific to F#, is it? Yeah, this is just some random. I guess this tells you how often people are using NeoVim for. It's easy.net. I proudly present easy.net. Okay, let's see how they do it. Oh yeah, better yet, let's just use our good friend Copilot to tell us how they did it. Hashtag AI. Hashtag agentic and development. You chose F# over Zig. Well, I still want to do Zig, but I actually like want to commit. Like when I try Zig, like we're gonna commit. We're gonna learn it. Like it's gonna be like Go or Rust. We're gonna go for it. But F#, I'm kind of like, you know, I'm like, so that's why. Yo, bro. Okay, hold on. First off, only speak to me like Kenny Powers. Got it? I was having to really think about this. uh, I wonder if Copilot knows you can get Copilot to cuss by asking it to speak like Kenny Powers. You're goddamn right, I got it. La Flama Blanca. Oh gosh. Cool. Well, I don't know how to set up my NeoVim config for F sharp, but these fellas who built easy.net have got it, and I want to take it from them. So can you tell me how, can you tell me step by step what I need to add to my configs to make it work? Hello, Ilmanian. A little bit late. Oh, well, it's actually 6 p.m. my time, so apologies if it's late for you. Mahi, I was creating a monolith app for a long time. Now I want to create an app with microservice. So I asked ChatGPT what is the easiest option to run a microservice app. It replied, Docker. Is this best? Docker is a really great tool, yeah, for being able to like package up things and run them in containers, right? Like typically a microservice app, right? You're going to have like all these independent services instead of having everything in a monolithic app. So it would be kind of messy to deploy to a machine and have to make the service run or install every single service on the machine. So what you can do is have every machine packaged up into a nice little Docker container and then just run the container. So that's probably what I would do. I honestly think developing microservice applications is a shitty experience and really sucks. Microservice is largely not necessarily a code-related architecture.
Did we just become best friends?
Singi Marchal, I think is how you say your name. Thank you for the sub. But yeah, it's less about microservices, is less about a code architecture and is much more about organizational architecture, right? How do you have a team of like 100, 200, 300, 400 people, right, developing on an application concurrently? And so it makes a lot of sense to divide things up that way. But for an individual developer, it's not. It's a pretty shitty experience in my experience to build things in that way. I was doing some vibe coding while watching Macbeth last week. I prompted it in Shakespearean style, and it replied accordingly. Nice. Yeah, that's fun. This is awkward. I clicked on your PFP from an anti-AI clip. How's it going, man? That's hilarious. Yeah. It's my AI take is very subtle. I'm not anti-AI. I just only want to use AI when I want to use AI. I don't want fucking people telling me when and how I should use it. You know? It's my life. I'm gonna live it how I want to. Okay. What do we got here? I don't want to use easy.net though. That's the thing. We already have this. This is already we're already doing that. Hmm. Yeah, I don't know. Well, in lieu of being able to set up NeoVim with it, Visual Studio Code it is. I don't really know what VS Code support is like for it. Okay, we at least got some syntax highlighting. That's good. Wonder if there's a separate extension I have to install. Recommended based on the files you recently opened. It's like I'm like jumping into like a whole new ecosystem, you know? Yeah, there's nothing here. So I'm guessing it's Ionide. It had 1.7 million installs, so I'm guessing it's this guy. Sure, why not? YOLO. No, not VS Code, gross. This is what we're doing it, man. We're doing it. Unrecognized value 11. Use lang version for complete list. Does it not support .NET 11? Complete list, F# compiler. Oh God, what is this? What is this hellhole that I've walked into? This F, like Jesus. There's got to be some better documentation on getting set up, right? Let's see. So this is the getting started one. Let's see. Learn about getting your development environment set up. Get started with Visual Studio. Get started with the .NET CLI. Write a class library. Add the library project. I mean, it seems like it should just work, right? Let's do Visual Studio Code. Let's see, you can write C#, F# and Visual Studio Code with the Ionide plugin to get a great cross-platform lightweight with IntelliSense. Okay, I already installed that. .NET New Console, I've run that. Write your first script. Okay. I don't know why this is angry though. So if I do .NET run, so it's something about the Ionide plugin doesn't like unrecognized value for 11 for -- language version. Use -- language version something or other. Open the documentation. Let's see if anybody else has had this same issue. What is this? Does anybody actually use this language? I have no idea. That's the thing. Is like people say nice things about F#, and I've never yet ever seen anyone write code with it before. So, you know, I'm going out on a limb. You know what I mean? I'm gonna give it a chance. I don't want to just write it off. I'm giving it a chance. So, F#, .NET 11, Ionide. I guess what I could do. Let's see if it Let's just see if it fixes it. So let's just go here. Let's do global.json. Let's cat cr root global.json. Paste that here. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of that. Let's get rid of the preview version of .NET. Let's do cat c, or no, sorry, .NET list -- list SDKs, and then we'll just give it this guy. Let's see if that changes anybody's. Reload window. Just give it a minute to start. No test projects found. Not in an F# project. Program.fs is not in any project known to Ionide. Project loading failed. What do you mean it failed? I'm just gonna say this right now. So far, it's not going so good. Let's delete these guys. The current .NET SDK does not support targeting .NET. Oh, that actually is my fault. That is not F Sharp's fault. That is a Steven problem. There we go. Now we're home. Okay, so let's go back to the tour of F Sharp and let's give this a good faith effort. And let's close some tabs here because I've had terrible tab discipline. Before I close this, this is probably one of my funniest AI moments I've had in a very long time. So I am going to screenshot this for my collection of funny AI exchanges. I have a coworker that will get a lot of enjoyment out of that. Copilot cursed at me. Or not really at me, but Copilot just cursing in general is funny. Okay. Get rid of that. 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 Bye-bye. Bye. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Bye. Okay. Back to where we started this whole thing. Jonathan, can I ask what your need is for F Sharp or just checking? I'm just checking it out, man. This is what you call an exciting Saturday night in my life, okay? This is what I do for fun. I didn't really feel like working on a project. I might still work on a project, but I didn't really feel like doing it right now. But I still want to tinker. I still want to clicky-clack on the keyboard and play with code. So I thought, let's take F Sharp for a little spin, see if it's worth investigating. All right, so the most fundamental piece of any F Sharp programs, for a while I managed to get ChatGPT to talk to me like it was a character in Deadwood. Extremely vulgar, but elegant. It got to me too much, though. Maybe I can get it to talk to me like Thomas Shelby from Peaky Blinders. I feel like that would be an improvement, you know? Maybe it would use less words, fewer tokens. Okay, the most fundamental piece of any F Sharp program are functions, organized into modules. Functions perform work on inputs to produce outputs, and they are organized under modules, which are the primary way you group things in F Sharp. They are defined using the let binding, which give the function a name and define its arguments. Oh, interesting. So they don't have a function keyword, they say let. And they just treat it like a variable, like a binding. Interesting. Okay. Let bindings are also how you bind a value to a name. Similar to a variable in other languages, let bindings are immutable, okay, by default, which means that once a value or function is bound to a name, it cannot be changed in place. This is in contrast to variables in other languages, which are mutable, meaning their values can be changed at any point in time. If you require mutable binding, you can use let mutable. Well, there we go. That's just like Rust, right? Okay. As a .NET language, F Sharp supports the same underlying primitive types that exist in .NET. Here's how various numeric types are represented in F Sharp. Easy enough. This is a list of numbers from 0. Oh, I like that. Can you do that in C Sharp? Does that work? I don't know if this works in C Sharp. That kind of looks Pythonic almost, doesn't it? Like a list comprehension. That's interesting. Yoda GPT, I'd be in on that. Here's what Boolean values and performing basic conditional logic looks like. Okay. This line uses %b to print a Boolean value. So do they not have string interpolation? Oh, I guess that's what this is, huh? So why do you have to do this, though? That seems weird. And here's what basic string manipulation looks like. Okay, double quotes. This is verbatim. That's similar to C#. Got string literals. I like that. Got your basic string concatenation. This line uses %s to print a string value. This is type safe. So this reminds me of kind of like Go or Rust, right? Like how they do printing things. It's not at all like C#. Substrings use the indexer notation. This line extracts the first 7 characters as a substring. Note that many languages strings are 0 index. Note that like many languages strings are 0 index. Okay. I actually think this does work in C# now. I feel like you can do this in C#. Tuples are a big deal in F#. They are a grouping of unnamed but ordered values that can be treated as values themselves. Think of them as values which are aggregated from other values. They have many uses, such as conveniently returning multiple values from a function or grouping values for some ad hoc convenience. Okay. Swapping elements. Nice. You can mix types. You can also create struct tuples. These also interpolate fully with C#7 and Visual Basic 15 tuples, which are also struct tuples. Tuples are normally objects, but they can also be represented as structs. These interoperate. These interoperate completely with structs in C# and Visual Basic.NET. I'm not sure why they keep calling that out. That must be important for some reason. Are not implicitly convertible with object tuples, often called reference tuples. Okay. The preceding code demonstrates using pattern matching to deconstruct tuples in function parameters, such as struct A, B, which extracts the individual elements. For more information about pattern matching and destructuring tuples, see tuples. It's important to note that because struct tuples are value types, they cannot be implicitly converted to reference tuples or vice versa. You must explicitly convert between a reference and a struct tuple. Okay, that's what I was curious. So struct tuple means that it's a value type, right? And then the default tuple type is obviously a reference type, which is why they call it a reference tuple. Okay. It's important to note. Nope. Okay, the sweet pipeline operator. So this is something that I've seen come up a lot in the C# community. Is people really, really like this pipeline operator, but C# doesn't have it. Some people have been doing some weird things with operator overloading to make it work. Not this exact syntax. They've been just using a single pipe character, but a lot of people seem to like this feature. The pipe operator is used extensively when processing data in F#. This operator allows you to establish pipelines of functions in a flexible manner. The following example walks through how you can take advantage of these operators to build a simple functional pipeline. Okay. Okay. I don't know what you're showing me here. Got some functions. Oh, I see. So you're basically calling list.filter, which obviously takes another function as its first parameter and the thing that it's going to operate on. So the first thing we get the values. Oh no, this isn't of itself building. You are building up a function. That's what we're doing here. So we're basically saying we have a function named square odd values and add one that takes values. and that is bound to this chain of bindings. See, so first of all, that's confusing because you almost have to read it backwards to understand what it's doing, right? Well, I guess not backwards, but this doesn't seem natural. This must be where the pipeline comes into place. So a shorter way to write this is with parentheses. This almost looks like a Lisp code right here. Okay, so you just have like, or like you're writing some dumbass function in an Excel cell. You just have a bunch of parentheses. Okay, so that's why people like the pipeline operator, because this is much easier to read. We have values, we pass the values to is odd, then we square the values, then we add 1 to the values. I understand now why the pipeline operator, why people like it. You can shorten it by moving the second list.map call into the first using a lambda function. Yeah? And then I'm guessing you can go even shorter, huh? Lastly, you can eliminate the need to explicitly take values in as a parameter by using arrow to compose, or not, I guess not arrow, that's, what is that, greater than, less than, whatever that sign is, angle bracket, right pointing angle bracket, to compose the two operations, filtering out even numbers, then squaring and adding 1. Likewise, the function x arrow bit of the lambda expression is also not needed because x is simply being defined in that scope so that it can be passed to a functional pipeline. Thus, whatever, I don't know what this operator is called, can be used there as well. Okay. Honestly, if I was going to write it, though, I think this is harder to read. I think this is even harder. I think this looks much more parsable from a readability perspective. As a newbie to F#, I mean, what do I know? But that's just me offering my thoughts. Good morning, Crow of Demise, or good afternoon, sorry, I should say. Yo, you're streaming at 6 p.m. That's crazy. I am streaming at 6 p.m. I didn't get to stream this morning, so I thought I would sit down this evening and do a little bit of tinkering. Okay, lists, arrays, and sequences are 3 primary collection types in the F# core library. Lists are ordered, immutable collections of elements of the same type. They are singly linked lists, which means they are meant for enumeration, but a poor choice for random access and concatenation if they're large. This is in contrast to lists in other popular languages, which typically do not use a singly linked list to represent them. Okay, that's good to know. Lots of list stuff. See, I don't know how... This gives me Python vibes. I'm not sure how I feel about this. Very terse. Doesn't look very pretty to me, honestly, as a language, but maybe it grows on you. Like this right here. This reminds me almost of like... it almost reminds me of like... It's very Pythonic, but almost reminds me of some sort of like shell scripting with the do. The do keyword is interesting. Arrays are fixed-size, mutable collections of elements of the same type. They support fast, random access of elements and are faster than F# lists because they are just contiguous blocks of memory. Well, that's got to be the weirdest way I've ever seen to initialize an array. So that's how they differentiate it from a list, is with the pipe characters. This is fascinating. This is very different than anything I've It's familiar but different, you know? It's like, oh, here's some C sharp, here's some Rust, here's some Go, kind of all mixed together. Don't you besmirch Python like that? Oh, fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough. I'll leave Python out of this. It's got its own issues. Sequences are logical series of elements, all of the same type. These are a more general type than lists and arrays, capable of being your view into any logical series of elements. They also stand out because they can be lazy, which means that elements can be computed only when they are needed. So this is kind of like an iterable, right? This is what a sequence is. Let's see. Let's use our good friend Gemini. Let's see. So we don't need a lot of thinking power here. So in F sharp is a sequence the same thing as an enumerable in C sharp. Okay. Recursive functions. I'm not a big fan of recursion. I almost never try to implement things recursively. Processing collections or sequences of elements is typically done with concursion in F sharp. Okay, that's out. I'm done. I'm done. See, although F sharp has support for loops and imperative programming, recursion is preferred because it is easier to guarantee correctness. Although F sharp has support for loops and imperative programming, recursion is preferred because it is easier to guarantee correctness. Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that? I don't know. I find recursion fucks up most people more than it guarantees correctness. But what do I know? You know. Wilo Gamer Pro, hi, late stream. Yes, late stream. Yep, I was. I would have streamed this morning, but we had storms last night, and so we all, my family, me, my wife, and my kids, we all slept in our basement, and my office is like right next to where where everybody was sleeping, and so I did the kind thing and didn't fire up the stream, you know. So I thought I'll get on this evening after dinner and spend a little time poking around at stuff. Does all the notes have a programming language? I actually don't know if it does. I would be surprised to learn they don't all have a programming language. Like somebody told me about the D programming language, and I thought they were kidding around, but there really is a programming language called the D programming language. So there's probably an esoteric language out there for every note, and I don't know about it, but I wouldn't be surprised to find out that there actually is. So I didn't even know this language existed till like end of last year. Bob, good stream. Oh, thanks, Bob. We're trying to do a try to keep it interesting for folks, but also interesting for myself. It's a balancing act. Oh wait, you were probably saying good stream because I said okay, I'm out. That's why you said that. Sometimes things go over my head. Okay, this example shows a recursive function that computes the factorial of an integer. It uses let rec to define a recursive function. Oh, so you have to explicitly declare. Interesting. So if you didn't put that there, would that not work? Let me copy this. Would this not run? If I Oh, whoops. I just put that in my buffer. Oh, shoot. I don't have a formatter? .NET format. Format currently only supports C# and Visual Basic. Ugh. Yuck. No Phantomos install was found. I guess install locally. I don't know what is Phantomos. Phantomos. F# source code formatter. Huh. It's interesting learning about the tool chain of other languages. There we go. So how do you configure it? Oh, it's opinionated. An opinionated F#. Configuration. Oh, so it honors editor config settings. So we can do .editor config, and then we can do indent size equals 2. Nice. Oh wait. I don't think. There we go. All right, so if I remove let rec, does this give me some sort of compilation? Yeah. The value or constructor factorial is not defined, so you have to specifically declare. Interesting. The type hinting, I kind of like the type hinting. I'm not usually a big fan of type hinting like that, but that's kind of nice. Ryan, hey, when are you trying Lisp? +1 for switching to Lisp. There's too many parentheses, man. It's the parentheses, okay? It's the parentheses. They're just... I love me some curly brackets and semicolons, but... Also, good evening, Ryan. Good to see you. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I don't know, honestly, if F# is going to be a thing. It's just something I wanted to explore tonight. We might not actually spend that much time on it on stream. The next language I probably want to learn, like, seriously is either Zig. I'd like to go back and spend a lot more time writing Rust. I'd like to build some serious projects in Rust, but I'd also like to learn Zig. The parentheses disappear after about an hour. Oh, man. Like, I'm skeptical. Like, I hear you, but I'm skeptical. Yeah, after an hour, all you see is blonde, brunette, redhead. Oh my goodness. Let's see. Record and union types are two fundamental data types used in F# code and are generally the best way to represent data in an F# program. Although this makes them similar to classes in other languages, one of their primary differences is that they have structural equality semantics. I love structural equality semantics. I will tell you, I'm a big fan. Big structural equality fan over here. This means that they are natively comparable and equality is straightforward. Good morning, Inspire. Man, we've got 3 members in the chat. Thank you guys for being members. Holy evening stream, yes. I'll keep repeating this just because so that you guys so that you kind of since so people know. I was gonna stream this morning, but we had thunderstorms last night, so we slept in our basement, and my office is in our basement, so it wasn't possible. Like I would have had to wake up the whole family if I wanted to stream this morning. So I'm streaming this. That's why I'm streaming this evening. This won't become this right now is not going to become a regular thing. It's just a today thing. Okay, records are an aggregate of name values with optional members. If you're familiar with C# or Java, then these should feel similar to POCOs or POJOs, just with structural equality and less ceremony. Well, C# added records, so these now feel like very normal to me. Let's see, this type shows how to find a new record type. Okay, so we just declare type. What is this formatting? Is this really how you format code in F#? You put the brackets on the same line? What? What? No. So terrible. So far I'm not feeling F#, I'll tell you that. Like stylistically, syntactically, I know I'm like nitpicking at it, but like I mean that's what you do, right? When you learn a new programming language, so all good, man, whenever it works for you. Well, I appreciate that, Inspire. Also F#. Hey, hear me out. Hear me out. I'm a .NET fan, so, want to be friendly to all the languages, all the .NET languages, And I've heard good things about F#, so I'm giving it a run for its money. You can also do this on the same line with semicolons. Okay. And then they have the with keyword. I like the with keyword. I like that in C# a lot. Let's see. This example shows how to write a function that processes a record value. It converts a contact record object to a string. Okay, this is still weird to me. This is declaring a function like this. This is like how this is how like the cool kids declare functions in JavaScript. It just seems weird. It seems weird that the argument is over here on the left side. I don't know. I think this is one of those. This is an example of like when you learn a new language, you just have to embrace it, right? And you have to use it, and it probably grows on you over time. This is an example of a record with a member. Okay. Let's see. Members can implement object-oriented members. What does that mean? Member this dot printed contact card. Oh, so that's like it's like a method. Yeah, we're declaring like a method. Interesting. Okay. You can also represent records as structs. This is done with the struct attribute. Okay. Discriminated unions are values that could be a number of named forms or cases. Data stored in the type can be of several distinct types. Okay. I wish C# had this. Apparently C# is supposed to get discriminated unions. They were supposed to get it in C# 14. Apparently now it's coming in C# 15. So yeah, discriminated unions can also be used to represent the rank of a playing card. See, represents the rank of cards 2 through 10. Interesting. Discriminated unions can also implement object-oriented members. Okay. This is a record type that combines a suit and a rank. It's common to use both records and discriminated unions when representing data. This computes a list representing all cards in the deck. Got some pattern matching here. So you can also use DUs as a single case discriminated unions to help with domain modeling over primitive types. Often strings and other primitive types are used to represent something and are thus given a particular meaning. However, using only the primitive representation of the data can result in mistakenly assigning an incorrect value. Representing each type of information as a distinct single case union can enforce correctness in this scenario. Yeah, this is kind of like Go kind of has this idea, right? I like this idea. This is kind of like in C# we have this pattern called strongly typed IDs. This would be really nice to have there for that purpose. So that way if you have like a method that takes like an ID, like 3 IDs, like a user ID, an account ID, an order ID, right? But they're all typed as int. It's really easy to like mispass the order. But if you had them typed to like user ID type, order ID type, account ID type, then you would get compiler warnings if you tried to pass one for the other. So this is kind of nice. I can see this being nice to use. This feels very Go-esque, right? Inspire OCaml is better looking, not gonna lie. Well, we might have to add OCaml to the list of things to look at then. I've heard TJ on the Primogen stream or on the stand-up podcast say good things about OCaml. Like basically, I've heard people say OCaml is like Rust if it was garbage collected. Bob, I knew it looked familiar. It's Microsoft's version of OCaml. Oh, that's hilarious. Bob, are there other .NET languages? There's 3. There's VB.NET, F#, and C#. Those are the 3 .NET languages. Inspire, one more of these and I'll leave programming, not gonna lie. No, don't leave programming. Stay. We need all the people that we can get to stay who like to program, because it seems like the entire tech industry is becoming a group of people who just hate everything about coding and programming, and all they want to do is talk to an LLM all day. Siba Code, what you working on? Nothing. We're just exploring C#. We're just kind of chilling, drinking coffee, chatting, exploring, or sorry, not exploring C#, exploring F#. OCaml white pill is too strong. I will turn into a slop coder. No. It was said that you would defeat the Sith, not join them. You're the chosen one. Yeah. It's funny. I see other developers though saying stuff that I've been saying. Like I've definitely heard the Primogen say the whole I've heard multiple people say they have this existential situation that they're going through right now with AI and their love of code and the fact that LLMs are like taking over the industry. And I saw another guy post about this who I follow online. His name's Adam. He's actually from Springfield, Missouri, or at least that's where he lives, which is kind of crazy because it's about an hour north of where I grew up in Joplin, Missouri. So it was kind of cool to find somebody else on the interwebs that's relatively close to where I kind of from my same neck of the woods. But I saw him. Let me see if I can find this tweet, because I think it's interesting that other people are expressing this. This is this tweet from yesterday. Programming was deeply satisfying to work. Sorry, let me start over. And let me make it a little bigger. Programming was deeply satisfying work to me. Work for hours, days before getting the payoff of the code working well on your machine. I'm feeling so much friction now to open the editor and do this kind of task by hand, but also increasingly depressed with the nature of work in an AI assisted dev workflow. But back and forth prompting seems to eat at my soul. Need to find a balance that brings back some of the toil. I feel a little more sane. I, I feel validated when other people express these sentiments, because I don't really have this friction. I don't really feel a friction doing the work by hand, but definitely back and forth prompting eats at my soul for sure. That one, 100% that one. It's nice to be validated. Get out and become a slop coder, Steven. Oh man, I'm gonna start a resistance. I'll be like the John Connor of programmers. I hate AI, to be honest. Sorry, vibe coders. I am an AI engineer, by the way. That's hilarious. Well, I mean, dissonance. Everybody likes a good dose of dissonance. This is like when Neo discovered he could stop bullets. Yeah. Oh my god, I can do whatever I want. What is the point anyway then? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I've come to this place where I personally think the point for me is I need to earn a living. So as long as I can do that, I'm fine. Right? And I feel confident I can earn a living whether or not LLMs are a part of the job or not. I think it just for me becomes a debate about like what do I want to do for work? Like if your job or your employer really does come to you and is like, "Hey, we don't want to see you typing code manually anymore." Like we need to see you running like 14 instances of Claude Code at all times, stuff like that. Then it just becomes a question of whether or not that's what you want to spend your professional life doing, you know. Bob, as I posted on Discord, I miss the craftsmanship of writing code, but I'm getting so much more done than I could possibly do by hand. Yeah, that is the like the competing, right? The competing ends of the spectrum and this cognitive dissonance that everybody I think is experiencing. It's difficult. It's difficult. And I think it just everyone's got to figure out the right balance, right, for themselves. Have you read Claude 9? No, I have not. What is that? Claude 9 by Babu Shishkin? Is this a famous thing? One of the Grok founders? Oh, okay. Claude 9 by Babu Shishkin. I've never heard of this guy. Life on Claude 9. Is it a blog post? Is this it? Is it this thing? Does this look right? Inspire? I'm assuming it's right. You'll tell me if I'm wrong. Pretty nice read on similar lines of what I think is going to happen. Okay, interesting. Oh god, a lot of errors there. Yep, kind of a future of vibe coding friction. Okay, interesting. Yeah, I'll have to give that a read. Thanks for the recommendation. Let's see. Additionally, discriminated unions also support the singularity might be nearer. Okay, now I don't think the singularity is anywhere close to near. But we can all have our opinions. But to me, I don't think it's anywhere close. I know a lot of people want it to be close, but like I don't see it. This whole prediction, this whole like tech prediction of like utopia in 5 years. Like, no, this is not happening. This is not happening. Let's see. Additionally, to use also support recursive definitions, allowing you to easily represent trees and inherently recursive data. For examples, here's how you can represent a binary search tree with exists and insert functions. The singularity being, in this case, the human retardation and madness, hacking the dopamine rush of doing things, basically. Oh, the human. Okay, I thought we were talking about the other singularity. Okay. Maybe I don't know. I'm optimistic about humanity. I'm pretty optimistic when it comes to humans. Like the humans have a lot of bad to them, right? But I honestly believe that the good in us wins out at the end of the day. But I will definitely give it a read. Sounds very interesting. Okay, so this is the recursive nature, right here. We're basically defining a type or one of the members of this discriminated union has a left and a right who also has the type. And then we're just defining a recursive function called exists, which calls itself in these branches. Because discriminated unions allow you to represent the recursive structure of the tree in the data type, operating on this recursive structure is straightforward and guarantees correctness. It is also supported in pattern matching as shown below. Let's see, pattern matching is the F-sharp feature that enables correctness for operating on F-sharp types. In the above examples, you probably notice quite a bit of match X with syntax. This construct allows the compiler, which can understand the shape of data types, to force you to account for all possible cases when using a data type through what is known as exhaustive pattern matching. This is incredibly powerful for correctness and can be cleverly used to lift what would normally be a runtime concern into a compile time concern. I mean, I did like the match. I do like match in, or like, I guess it's switch in C#. It's not exhaustive. I did like match in Rust, so I'm guessing I'm going to like match in F# too. I wonder what is the star symbol? What is that? I don't feel like we touched on that. What is the asterisk symbol mean in the following F#? I don't get how people can enjoy vibe coding. It feels soulless when there's no real effort or hours of work put into it. Well, I think it can be enjoyable if it's something that you don't care a lot about, you know? Like I had this thought yesterday where it's like if you're at a job and you're just there punching the clock and you don't really care about the thing you're working on and you just want to get the paycheck, you know? Like imagine if you were in any other profession, right? And you had a job that you didn't really like, but you needed to do it because it's, you know, pays the bills, and somebody handed you this tool that made you like 50, let's say even 20% more productive, and it allows you to get out of doing a lot of the monotonous activity of the work you do that you don't really enjoy and don't really care about, right? I can totally see how people would embrace using LLMs to code. In those kinds of cases. I also think vibe coding is embraced by a lot of people because it allows them to explore ideas that they would have never previously explored because they just didn't have the time. But now if you have an idea for something, you can just like spin up Copilot or spin up Claude Code and say, hey, go do this. And even if the thing it implements is shitty or not how you would have done it, at least you get to see your idea taken to some sort of conclusion, right? So then maybe you can decide, well, is it something you still want to pursue, or is it just not worth the effort, right? So I think I can see those types of use cases for it, right? I can empathize where people come to enjoy not even enjoy it necessarily, but like get value from it, you know. But yeah, I don't think that I'm ever going to be a person that enjoys doing it that way over doing it myself if it's actual code that I care about or an actual project that I care a whole lot about. I talked to the CTO who thinks that the next few years, or I talked to a CTO who thinks that the next few years will mean big tech will break up, but smaller orgs will be able to afford SWE plus AI, so roles will get distributed. Interesting. That's an interesting conclusion. Very, very different from the software engineering is dead conclusion that a lot of people have come to. There will be, I think, a cult of people left who can code themselves, a secret society of sorts. We need to come up with some sort of like hand gesture that we do at each other. You know, are you one of those people that can still write code? Yeah, read the blog. Yunins might give you a broader opinion on what can be done. Yeah, I would love to. I'll definitely read it. I think often there are some crazy ideas that you think will take too long for you. Now imagine if you could just do that in an hour. Yeah, exactly. Reward hacking is the problem. Yeah, or I guess just ease, yeah, easiness, path of least resistance, right? That I also think it gives people like Dunning-Kruger, it creates like a Dunning-Kruger effect on steroids for a lot of people. Sorry, man, I can't read that language. If I could read that language, I would address your question, but I'll just say hello.
Did we just become best friends?
Rhombohedral Bismal? I think it was your that's quite a username, man, but thanks for the sub. I appreciate that. Let's see, in the context of F-sharp type definitions, the asterisk symbol represents a tuple. Let's see, when you see it inside a discriminated union like employee type, it acts as a separator for multiple values that belong to a single case. It tells the compiler that the case contains a grouping of specific types. This case contains a person and a list of employees. Okay, interesting. Active patterns are another powerful construct used with pattern matching. They allow you to partition input data into custom forms, decomposing them at the pattern match call site. They can also be parameterized, thus allowing to define the partition as a function. Expanding the previous example to support active patterns looks something like this. Call the printer with some different values to parse. Huh. It's kind of interesting. Not sure I fully understand what this is doing. Seems to like basically denote some sort of like placeholder or some sort of parameter can be passed or taken or accepted or something. I'm not really sure. One special case of discriminated union types is the option type, which is so useful that it's part of the F-sharp core library. The option type, I'm guessing this is similar to Rust's option type, is a type that represents one of two cases, a value or nothing at all. It is used in any scenario where a value may or may not result from a particular operation. These are often used in APIs where null is used to represent nothing instead, thus eliminating the need to worry about null reference exceptions in many circumstances. Get those null reference exceptions out of here. We don't need you. We don't want you. Yeah, that's cool. Okay. So there's things in this language that like are all based on my prior experience with like C Sharp, Rust, Go, TypeScript. There's a lot of familiar things. Let's see. F Sharp's type system includes the ability to provide context for numerical literals through units of measure. Units of measure allow you to associate a numeric type to a unit, such as meters. Oh, this must make it killer for doing like mathematical uh, data crunching. See, first, open a collection of common unit names. Okay. Define a unitized constant. Next, define a new unit type. The F-sharp core library defines many SI unit types and unit conversions. To learn more, check out this namespace. Cool. Object-oriented programming. Oh, interesting. F-sharp has full support for object programming through classes. I had no idea. Classes are types that represent .NET objects which can have properties, methods, and events as its members. It looks very different compared to something like C Sharp, but interesting. So what is a generic? It's interesting with the little, that's like the little lifetime notation from Rust. Okay, so to implement an interface, you can use either interface with syntax or an object expression. This is a type that implements iDisposable. So how do you say it implements? Oh, here we go. This is the implementation of iDisposable members. Interface system.iDisposable with this particular member. This is an object that implements iDisposable via an object expression. Unlike other languages such as C# or Java, a new type definition is not needed to implement an interface. So you can basically do it kind of inline, essentially. And then just pass this. So this object or this instance of this object would satisfy anywhere where you wanted to pass an iDisposable. Which types to use? The presence of classes, records, discriminated unions, and tuples leads to an important question. Which should you use? Like most everything in life, the answer depends on your circumstances. I hate that answer, but it is the right answer. Let's see. Tuples are great for returning multiple values from a function and using an ad hoc aggregate of values as a value itself. Records are a step up from tuples, having named labels and support for optional members. They are great for a low-ceremony representation of data in transit through your program. Because they have structural equality, they are easy to use with comparison. Discriminated unions have many uses, but the core benefit is to be able to utilize them in conjunction with pattern matching to account for all possible shapes that data can have. Classes are great for a huge number of reasons, such as when you need to represent information and also tie that information to functionality. As a rule of thumb, when you have functionality that is conceptually tied to some data, using classes and the principles of OOP is a significant benefit. Classes also the preferred data type when interoperating with C#, Visual Basic, as these languages use classes for nearly everything. So interesting. There must be a lot of, they've talked about this interop support a lot. So there must be, I'm not familiar with how, I guess working in C#, I've never really had this brought up much about the interop between the languages, but that must be a more common thing in F#. Okay, I don't know, that was a pretty good tour, but I'd like to like build something or write some code or something. So do they have like I don't really want, let's see, F# for web development? Giraffe. That's an interesting name for a framework. What is your primary language? I usually will work in C#. I feel pretty confident in C#, TypeScript, or Go these days. I'd be willing to take on Rust more frequently now that I've actually kind of got my legs underneath me a little bit with it. But yeah, probably C# and TypeScript. If I have a choice, I'm gonna probably write C#. If I can only pick one language to ever write again, I'm gonna pick TypeScript. And I guess if I ever get bored with C#, I will pick up Go as a primary. Bob, yay, Rust. I would like to. The one part about Rust that I feel like I didn't get enough reps with was the async. The async nature of Rust, or the async support in Rust is something I didn't feel like I got enough time with. So, do you prefer PowerShell or Bash or even CMD? I don't do a ton of like shell scripting like that, but if I needed to, then I would probably use PowerShell. I'm okay with Bash though. Bash is fine. I don't work in those languages enough to be effective in them. Like 9 times out of 10, if I need to write a little script, I'll just do it in TypeScript. But yeah, if I'm restricted to what's available or provided by the OS, then it's probably PowerShell or Bash. But I don't, like I said, I'd have to look. If you asked me to write a PowerShell script right now, I'd probably have to look up over 75% of the things I needed to do. Holy shit, look at this. This is interesting. Create a web application and plug it into ASP.NET Core. Let web app equals choose.
Did we just become best friends?
Yong, thanks for the sub, man. Appreciate you. Route ping. I have no idea what this operator is right here. Text, so I'm guessing it just responds with that. Huh. Now this is wicked looking. Okay, this looks a little familiar. But this is wicked looking up here. Like, I kind of like it, but also it seems foreign. Let's see. Instead of creating a startup class, you can also add giraffe in a more functional way. Configure app, add giraffe to the configure services. Okay. Super, super interesting. My personal blog, dusted.codes, is also built with giraffe. Programming, coffee, and indie hacking sounds like my kind of guy. I'm not really sure what to build with that. Like, I'm not really sure what to do with F#. Like, I need a project, but I'm not sure. Let's see if Gemma. Okay, so I'm brand new to F#. I want to build something with it. Relatively small in scope to get familiar with the language. Got any ideas? TZ, what do you say about F#? But do you like it so far? So there's things that I haven't written enough of it, I think, to really offer an opinion, TZ, because I've literally been looking at it for an hour and 40 minutes or so. But there are definitely things that I don't know why that didn't work. There's definitely things that I look at it and I thought, that looks cool. And then there's definitely things I look at and I think, that looks kind of nearly similar to like a list comprehension in Python, which I have feelings about. So I'm on the fence. Like I don't think I'm convinced to really dedicate myself to actually learning it, but I think it's an interesting looking language. Let's see. Instead of a standard to-do list, build a terminal-based expense tracker. Why F sharp? Yeah, you will use discriminated units to define categories and records for expenses. Markdown to HTML converter. Real-time concurrency or crypto converter. Huh. My recommendation for you, first, start with a simple calculator that uses a discriminated union for operations. It sounds cliche, but is the hello world of functional programming languages. It forces you to stop using if-else and start using types. Oh, because you're saying add, subtract, multiply, divide, and then you're matching against them to perform some operation. Okay, I see what you're saying. Okay, let's do, let's see. Create me a list of requirements for this expense tracker that I can implement against. Is it your first functional language? I guess it depends on what you define as a functional language. It's probably the closest thing. You know, like I spent a month learning Rust. I spent a month and then another month using Go, which I know people say like Go is not really functional, it's procedural, but to me it kind of has a functional bend to it. But this is probably F sharp's about the closest thing probably to like an actual functional language that I've been exposed to. Let's see, here's a list of requirements. I have structured these to help you practice the specific F sharp concepts. Cool. I don't want it in a Google Meet key. Put it in a markdown file. Put it in a markdown copyable code block. Let's see. So AE. Oops. Repositories. Learn F sharp. Let's do expense tracker. Started. Let's see. So it says just define a discriminated union for expense categories. Create a record type for an expense. Implement an add expense function that returns a list with the added item. Implement a summary function to calculate the total spending across all expenses. Implement a filter by category function using seek.filter or list.filter. Create a top expense function to find the highest single transaction. Build a simple CLI loop to capture user input and display the current state of the expenses. This is kind of interesting. I don't really know how to loop in loop. So I guess let's back up here. Let's do .NET new console out expense tracker. Yeah, Rust is not functional, neither is Go. They're both procedural because functions can mutate shared state. That's the difference in functional languages. Procedures are pure. They take inputs and return outputs. Outputs always return. Yeah, but see, like that to me, that's always where it's like I understand like pure functional languages, but like F sharp has mutability. So like you can mutate stuff in F sharp just like you can in Rust. So it's like, are they really functional? I'm using because I never found any reason to use a functional language. Ah, that's fair. I mean, I'm not trying to make the case for anything, TZ. I'm just enjoying my Saturday evening by exploring a programming language I've never explored before. I'm not trying to advocate for one or the other. Bob Knoll, and it broke. Gemini 3 has been such a mess. Well, I think it did not. I think it didn't work the first time. I don't think it worked the first time. Young, do you prefer Windows over Linux? And if so, why? Not really a. Well, I guess it's a preference. Yeah, preference, but it's not like a. I think Linux is shitty, so I use Windows preference. It's just I've been developing on a Windows machine since I started really programming seriously, and I've been on a Windows machine since my oldest son was born, and he's 10 now. I used to be a big MacBook or Apple fanboy, and I don't have the budget anymore to keep up with their hardware, so that's why I switched over to the Windows world. I'm a Java guy myself. It's interesting to see how much you can do in PowerShell. It's almost like a full language because of .NET. Yeah, you can, because you can bring in all those different types, right? Yeah. Yeah, I think a lot of people like PowerShell. I wish I was better at PowerShell. I wish I had more capability with it. I just don't use it enough, you know? I feel like a lot of programming languages or scripting languages are like that. The less you use it, the less capable you are with it. Sounds cool. Yeah, we're just vibing, man. We're vibing. Oh shoot, I did it again, didn't I? We change this to 10. And then we need to copy this global JSON to .NET. Okay. So the first thing it asked me to do was to reload window. What's up, Mark? Yo, late night live. Yeah, not late night for me. It's only 7:50 for me right now. I just wasn't able to. Oh, it's 7:50. my kids are getting ready to go to bed in 10 minutes. I'll probably hang out for another few minutes and then hop off. But yeah, I wasn't able to stream this morning, so streaming this evening. Do you have a goal / dream that you really want to accomplish with coding? Are there things that you really want to dev someday? Yeah, not particularly. No, I don't have any big goal or dream. My biggest goal at the moment is achieving financial independence. That's my biggest goal. So that's the only thing I'm really focused on or worried about. So I just want to keep earning money, saving for retirement. I want to be a present husband and a present father. That's about it. And I like to code. I enjoy programming. I enjoy coding. So just keep doing that and hopefully getting better at it and past the next 20 years, you know, till I get to retirement. But no, there's nothing like, there's no like big, like I want to create this or I want to build this, you know, just use the skills I have to solve problems as they arise and just keep enjoying myself. Let's see, I see it's just rare to see live at this time of the day. Yeah, so this morning we had storm. I've told this story a couple times now, but we had storms here last night, and one of the things that can happen where we live here in Kansas or in Tornado Alley is you can get tornadoes. And so we are all sleeping in the basement. And so when I woke up this morning at like 4 o'clock while everyone was still asleep and my office is in the basement and I didn't want to wake everybody up. So no morning stream, hence the evening stream. TZ, I just checked and GPT is saying that F# borrows functional ideas but isn't functional. TZ, I don't want to call you out, but the fact that you used GPT to fact check yourself is hilarious. Bob Noel, you don't want to be a coding streamer full time? Oh, that would be a blast, man. If I could, if I could earn my way to retirement by just coding full time online, that'd be wonderful. I don't think that's ever gonna be me though. I don't think that's ever gonna happen. But yeah, TZ. Well, I never cared about F sharp. Well, it's just funny because you were lecturing us on functional programming languages, and then you use ChatGPT to fact check yourself. I mean, in my experience, any language that declares itself as functional isn't really functional if it allows for mutable state, right? So like, which I think rules out most programming languages because the real world is built around mutable shared state. Yeah. Oh, well, yeah. I mean, in principle, yes, I understand that, but in practice, I don't think that. Mark, at my work, my colleagues treat AI as his slaves. That's dark. It's very dark. But don't worry, Mark. Somebody is going to. I know this sounds very weird, but one of these days there will probably be a group of human beings that are all about protecting the rights of robots and AI agents. There will probably be some organization that crops up around this. All right, so how would we start here? We need to define types for expense categories. So let's do, what would this look like? Type, and then we say category. And don't steal my reps, Copilot. So we do food, transport, utilities, entertainment. Okay. Just gotta install it globally. It's fine. Let's see. I've been a procedural guy for 10 years. I've never felt like I'm missing anything. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, totally fair. Thanks for going over to Twitch, Mark. I appreciate you. Appreciate you being in both places. Hello, Artwork Studios. How you doing? Doing well? Okay, so this is where I want to define a record. Okay, and is this how I do that? This type requires a definition. So I want to do date. How do I do that? Let's go back to the docs. I want to define a record. Type equals. Okay. Type equals. Date time. Date time? Does it not have date time? There's daytime offset, it looks like. Open system. Huh. I don't think we talked about that. What is that? What does the open keyword do? Let's see. Let's go back to Gemini. What does the what does the open keyword do in F sharp? I'm guessing it's like a using statement, right? I didn't know you were streaming at this time of day, Steven. It's just a today thing, because I didn't get to stream this morning, so I thought I would put in a little time this evening, and I didn't feel like working on my personal finance app thing right now, so I just decided I would tinker with F sharp. Key differences from C sharp's using. While they serve the same purpose, F sharp has a few unique behaviors. Order matters. F sharp processes files from top to bottom. If you open two modules that have a function with the same name, the last one opened wins. Okay. In C sharp, you primarily use usings for namespaces. In F sharps, you frequently use open for modules. The auto open attribute. F sharp has a special attribute called auto open. If a library author puts this on a module, the module contents are automatically available to you as soon as you open the parent namespace. You don't even have to explicitly open the module itself. Okay, interesting. So we need date, description, so string. Curious how this formats everything. Dude, that just looks so ugly, doesn't it? We're gonna do, let's see, O, editor, config. Gonna do .fs, indent size equals 2. There we go. It's just a weird looking language, I have to say. See, amount, let's make this a decimal. I like that the primitives are familiar to me. I do like that. So that is a plus. And then we have category, which is our discriminated union. I do like that. I do like that. Now implement an add expense function that returns a new list with the added item. Okay. We probably need some sort of like global state though. Can I declare a global variable? Can I do something like expenses equals like that? I guess I can. Okay, so let's do let add expense, and that accepts an expense. I guess I do expense like that, or I do e expense like this. And then I declare the function over here. Not really sure. Yeah. And so we want a new list, right? Because we're not going to mutate it. So this would be I guess we want the expense this, and then I guess we would just spread in A and add E to the end of it. Is that how you do that? Let's see, what's this say? Incomplete expression or invalid use of index or syntax. So how would you spread a list? I don't know. I don't know how to do that. Let's see, F# spread a list into a new list. Homework slowly killing me. I feel for you, man. I feel for you. I feel for you. Let's see, using the concatenation operator. Using the cons operator. Prepend 100 to list 1 to create list 2. Okay, that's what we want to do. But I don't want to prepend it. List.concatenate, list.collect. F# add item to list and create and return new list. Using the con auto. I don't. Why would you want to prepend it? Yeah. Okay. So we'll just do that. So we'll do a at. Whoops. Like that. This expression was expected to have a list, but here expense has type. Oh. So how do I say list of expense like that? There we go. Okay. So then theoretically I can do something like add expense, and then I can pass it the expenses list with a new expense, which doesn't exist, but it might. Expense. Invalid use of type. What does that mean? Hello, bro. How's it going? It's going good. Let's see. What do you think about my theory that AI is a new level of abstraction in computer science? Like going from assembly to C, not to replace programmers of today, but to birth a new class of devs. A new class of devs. A new class of devs who don't know how to code. They just know how to speak the English language. Also, what else do you want to have to say about my comment that debuggers are unnecessary overhead and print statements are better? I'm interested to hear what you had to say. Okay, first of all, I think your idea about AI being a new level of abstraction is just wrong. It's just LLMs are not to high-level programming languages what high-level programming languages are to low-level programming languages. You're not the first person I've heard express this. You're like the 99th person that I've had say this to me, and it's just, it sounds good as a soundbite, but it's just logically it's not sound. It's not the same. There's not equivalency between a compiler and an LLM. Let's see. What do I think about debuggers being unnecessary overhead statements and print statements are better? I just completely disagree. I would guess that you probably haven't ever had to debug something in a very concurrent, multi-threaded environment, in which case I don't think print statements are very helpful. I think a debugger in a lot of cases gets you to the answer much faster. But that's just me. Again, the thing I see is that people can develop the same level of ability and aptitude with different sets of tools. So I've watched people who are very good printf debuggers, but I've also seen people who are very, very good with a debugger. So I don't necessarily know if the tool makes the programmer, right? It's probably the other way around. The programmer makes the tool. But I don't necessarily agree with that they're unnecessary overhead. I'm very glad that debuggers exist in the world. It seems to me a lot of times that opinion depends on where you started your programming journey. If you started your programming journey in an environment with like a text editor and some sort of dynamic programming language, you probably tend to be more of a print statement debugger person. If you started your programming language or you started your programming journey in something like Java or C Sharp and you worked primarily in an IDE in your early days, then you probably are very comfortable with a debugger. So that's my observation. Those are my thoughts on those two opinions. Let's see. But did you hear that they're coming up with AI languages, like imperative way to write prompts to make them more accurate? That's called inventing a programming language. And if you still, so what you're basically saying is you're going to try to create a domain specific language to give to an LLM to try to get the LLM to give you more deterministic outputs, right? Again, this is where it breaks down. Yeah, this is where it breaks down. They're not the same thing. A compiler and a large language model are not the same thing. One is deterministic and one is probabilistic. And so you're kind of attacking the problem ass backwards if you're trying to take an LLM and turn it into something that is fundamentally not. Like it's not a good use of time, in my opinion. It's a waste. I guess since I mostly work with web services and distributed cloud systems in languages like TypeScript, debuggers never made sense to me. I mean, that's fair. I mean, but debuggers can work for TypeScript, JavaScript. The debugger in most browsers these days are kick ass. Uh, so yeah, I'm a believer in debuggers. I like debuggers. I use them a lot. But if you don't, that's fine. Like I said, I've seen guys that are kick ass with printf statements, and I've seen guys that are kick ass with debuggers. But I totally don't agree with your take on. It's not really your take. It's just the take in general because I've heard it from more than one person. I don't agree that LLMs are just another layer of abstraction. I know that's what people are trying to sell developers right now. They're trying to sell software engineers on this idea of like, you need to level up. You need to not think about these things anymore. You need to be thinking about higher level things. But it's almost like telling a writer. That's almost like telling a writer, oh, well, you don't need to write anymore. You just need to think about just think high level. Just think about the characters. Just think about the plot. Don't actually worry about writing the words. You can have an LLM do that. It's not going to land the same. It's not going to be the same. It's like if George R. Martin just had ChatGPT write the next Game of Thrones book. That book would not be as good as George R. Martin actually sitting down and writing the book. Like it's not the same. So that's my feeling on it. I like the way you articulate your thoughts, bro. It's fun to hear you speak. Thanks for answering my questions. Yeah, I don't know if I speak well, but I'm always happy to share my thoughts. I debug with how much memory my program leaks. Yeah, I mean, I think we've all probably built some leaky memory programs before. Debuggers and JetBrains IDEs are kick-ass. They really are, Duckboy. They really are. Visual Studio's debugger, I think, is the best debugger if you're in the .NET space. Writer's debugger's good, but Visual Studio's debugger's pretty hard to beat, especially when you start talking about like multi-threaded call stacks and stuff. It's very hard to beat that experience. Okay, data scientists rely on Python. They don't need to learn comp sci. I imagine business people will use this AI-powered language, not devs. I don't know, man. I'm super skeptical. But would an LLM version be better than no book? Maybe. I don't want it, though. Yeah, I don't want it. Yeah, I would much rather, if George R. R. Martin passes away, just bring Brandon Sanderson in and have him finish it. Whatever. Imagine the AI-powered language requires age verification. That would be an absolute cherry on top. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm crazy, but it seems silly. It seems silly that, okay, we have these languages that we already have that you can use to give computers instructions, right? Okay. So then what we did was we came up with this LLM technology, solves a different set of problems, but what we find out is, okay, well, LLMs can kind of translate semantic English or semantic natural language because of their semantic understanding, their ability to semantically understand things. They can translate natural language into the approximation in some programming languages or a variety of programming languages. But what we find out is what we've known forever, which is English language is it's not constrained enough. It's a poor language to actually give instructions in, to both receive and give instructions in. So what we're deciding is, okay, now since we want to be able to use the LLM as essentially our compiler, but it's not a deterministic compiler. It just decides on any given day what it's going to translate one token to the other. So now what we're going to do is we're going to go off and we're going to try to build some other constrained version of language. It's not a programming language, apparently. To me, it sounds like a programming language. And we're going to try to build this other constrained abstract. We're going to call it an AI language. And that's what we're going to have people use to put into the LLM to get what their desired output should be, or to try to help them increase the likelihood they get the desired output. That's, to me, that seems like it seems like you're using a hammer to drive in a screw. Like, just go get the drill, bro. Like, it just, it doesn't, like, there's a nail, use a hammer. If you have a screw, get a drill. Like, why are you trying to, I don't know. That's just my thoughts. What if someone fine-tuned an LLM on George R. R. Martin's work, then took his notes to finish the series? I mean, the scientist in me says we need to run the experiment. Like, have George R. R. Martin finish the book, have an LLM produce a version of the book, then give the book to a human, give each copy of the book to a human, and see if the humans can tell a difference, and see if humans objectively find one better than the other. Because I don't know. It's kind of, to me, it's kind of the same thing as like blind taste testing in food science. It's kind of the ultimate test if you can tell a difference, just objectively through statistical analysis, right? Can we blind you, and will you know that George R. R. Martin wrote it? There's like the human in me wants to believe that human beings will notice, but the scientist in me is like, I don't know. Let's collect the data and see. It sounds silly, but what do you think people said about JavaScript when it first came around? Oh, it's too slow and weak to do anything besides browser functions. It's not the same though, man. It's not the same comparison. Comparing JavaScript to some AI language is just not as I don't see it. I don't agree with it. It's weird. Maybe this AI powered language controls the level of probabilistic versus deterministic outcomes in an easy to package for non-dev, non-techies. Yeah, it's not a question of probabilistic versus deterministic outcomes. LLMs are probabilistic by nature, right? And so the creativeness of LLMs, their ability to like infer, to their ability to simulate understanding comes from that probabilistic nature. So if you remove the probabilistic nature, you're like, it's the same reason why like compilers tell you your semicolon's broken, but don't just put the like, you know what I mean? It's like, it's that sense of determinism where it's like the ability to like probabilistically make assumptions and extrapolations are what give the appearance of understanding, but it also is what leads to mistakes and leads to incorrectness, right? So it's like I just think fundamentally you're trying to use a tool to solve a problem it wasn't designed to solve. You're trying to put a square hole in a round peg. You're trying to put a square you're trying to put a square peg in a round hole. In my opinion, that's just me. In a sense, MCP servers are a step towards this AI language. Yeah, I don't think that. I don't agree with that. MCP servers are something completely different to a language, in my opinion. I wanted to ask you as a food scientist, why doesn't stuff like ranch dressing spoil sitting on a shelf in the store unrefrigerated? That's a really good question. That's a really good question. I would chat GPT that. I would Google that. I'm guessing it has something to do with the way it's packaged, if I had to guess. Because after you do open it, you do need to refrigerate it. So I'm guessing it has more to do with how it's packaged and sealed than anything. There's something on my shirt. Well, this wouldn't be a stream without getting Steven worked up about AI. So I appreciate you guys making sure we check that box before the end of the stream. This is definitely an interesting subject. I want to know what other people think. I'll come back to you with more info. I hope you keep streaming. Yeah, I'm here every day. Every day, but not usually at this time. I'm usually here from 4:15 a.m. Central Standard to 7 a.m. Central Standard. So I don't know what your time zones are like, but yeah, you're welcome to come back anytime. Bob, it's every single stream, but it's on everyone's mind. It is. It is the thing, man, and everyone's experiencing some level of uncertainty, confusion, existentialism, right? It's I get it. I get it. What is your day job dev work like? It's just I work in quality, so I do manual and automated testing for a software company. You can actually find me on LinkedIn if you want here. I'm a pretty open book when it comes to that sort of thing. AI is the most pressing issue of our time. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it's a pretty cool technology, but I don't think it's the most pressing issue. I think economic inequality right now is probably the biggest pressing issue. I think AI is probably going to be is going to be a driver of further economic inequality. The haves are going to have more, and the have-nots are going to have even less. All right, I'm done. This was fun. I don't normally stream this late in the evening, so you're getting a whole different version of me. If you're new here and you want to come back and hang out, I'm normally live. I'll put my schedule in the chat. I'm normally live every morning from 4:15 a.m. to about 7 a.m. You're more than welcome to drop by and hang out. If you'd like to interact with me outside the stream or anybody in my chat, you can find us on Discord. We're at discord.stevenfreeborn.com. I put that in the chat as well. Otherwise, I'll see you guys next time. COS. See you, Bob. Bye, whatever 207. Bye, Duckboy. See you guys. Bye, Artwork Studios. Bye, Mark. Bye, TZ. Bye, Young. I think I caught everybody. All right. Bye, guys. Bye. See you in the morning. Bye. See you guys.